Hello Pinksters and investors. It's the end of the year, so a good time for an end of year update. Now, I don't want to bore you with that word that we've all heard too much this year. But of course, I need to start by recognising what a horrible, tumultuous year this has been for so many of us. My thoughts are with all of you who've really struggled yourselves or had people close to you who've really struggled. Now, we really feel very fortunate here at Pynk that 2020 hasn't been too tough on us. Fingers crossed, we're not quite there yet. But, looking back to last March, things did look pretty bleak at Pynk. We were around, I think, 6 or 7 months into raising our second seed round when COVID really started to affect things in Europe. And we lost our main investor almost as a direct result. And so with minimal funds in the bank, we really had to pull together as a team. We had instituted a hiring freeze. We went to all having tiny salaries. We had to shift our focus from we were expecting to launch in the summer, and we had to go back to the drawing board and restart our funding round almost from scratch, and having to do that in the middle of a real uncertainty from the beginning of the pandemic. And we did pull together. United we stood. It wasn't just our employees, but also you, our crowd, and our investors. And in that context, I want to thank all of you who gave us your support. So we now have over 1,000 investors, thanks to both seeders and Fundabin crowdfunding platforms, as well as a few VCs and angels. So thanks to all of you. We have more than 40,000 crowd members now, thanks to all of you. The same goes to the more than 20,000 people on our global investor waitlist. Thanks to you. And of course, our team of employees and advisors all over the world who've been so crucial to where we are today. Thanks to all of you. I suppose I should also thank the UK government who implemented something called the Future Fund in order to help early stage startups that were in a particularly precarious position, facing a complete lack of funds unexpectedly, many of whom didn't have any revenue at all. And so that fund, that scheme has actually really helped boost our funding round. It added 6 figures to the pot, which was really critical. So bear with me on this one. I don't think I've ever had to thank politicians directly before. So thank you to the UK public who are now effectively Pynk investors. We have taken people powered to another level yet again. And together, all of you have allowed us to get to where we are today. And we really are on the verge of starting our mission for real by enabling that first people-powered investment portfolio. We're putting everyday investors at the heart of the investment decision-making process. We're building what we call collaborative finance, changing the way the world of investment works, democratizing access to hedge fund grade investment tools and research and knowledge, encouraging positive long-term financial habits, and helping people everywhere to create a better financial future, and all the while making investment fun. All of that starts, of course, with the imminent launch of our investor wallet. So, first and foremost, that highly anticipated launch, allowing people to invest into the Pynk Thesis portfolio, the first of many portfolios and products that we're planning to offer. So that the investment portfolio itself and the technology that delivers it is pretty much ready to rock now. We're pending a few tweaks and final tests. So we're so close. We were hoping for a pre-Christmas launch, but there's one final thing just holding that up, and it doesn't quite look like that's going to happen. So with the markets now closed for the holiday period, it seems likely that it's going to have to wait until the new year. So we'll be inviting tranches of Pinksters through into the wallet from that point. So a little surprise, I'm pleased to tell you that we're actually able to give you a little sneak peek now of how the investor wallet, the registration process and the wallet itself might look when you're able to get in the new year. The version I'm showing you now, it's almost certainly going to change and improve a little bit by the time you actually get to use it. But you can see a little bit of how it's all going to work from this. Here we start with the crowd area that you're so familiar with. And if we click on the little invest toggle at the top left, this is what switches you between these two key modes of the app, between the crowd participation and the actual real life investment once that goes live. So if you click on that, you switch into what we call the dark side, just because there's a very clear different color scheme, so you know exactly where you are in the app. And you get a few welcome screens. If you scroll or swipe across those, click the get started button, and here we are, like actually in the dark side of the app. You get a little preview there of the makeup of the portfolio. That doesn't reflect the thesis. Actually, I think it says cryptocurrencies. We're not launching with any cryptocurrencies, but that's the way that it will show you the composition. So next up, you will get the opportunity to sign up. You see this pop up here, and click the sign up button. And you'll see some text giving you some information about the portfolio and the fact that we need to ask you a few questions. Of course, we need to make sure that the Pynk portfolio is suitable for you and your particular circumstances. Assuming that you answer those questions in the manner required, you can then you'll pass, and you can then click to go through to the Know Your Customer section. So once you're in there, you'll need to provide some identification. You can choose typically between a passport and a driving license. If you progress through there, you'll then, if you're on a phone, you'll click and be able to take a photo with your camera phone and upload that along with a selfie. That goes through to our verification partners to make sure that you are who you say you are. And once you've done that, the app will tell you that verification is in progress. That obviously takes a little bit of time. Once that has been approved by one of the team over there, we'll give you a pop-up again, and you just click Let's Go to provide your final details, which is obviously confirming your name, address, contact details. You can see here this is just a made-up person. Made up address. Next up, you choose how you want to add money. In future, we'll have all kinds of options. Here you can see debit card isn't active, but bank transfers and Wisdom Points exchange are available. Let's say you choose to put money in through a bank transfer. We give you the instructions. You initiate that through your own bank, and once we detect that we've received your transfer based on your reference, again we'll give you a pop-up, and you'll see that in this case $100 has been received and it's gone straight into your portfolio. Obviously, it doesn't all happen quite that quickly. This is just for demo purposes, and of course those you're not seeing real financial results on the screen there. It's just a demo. So there you go, a quick preview of how it's all going to look when it launches very, very soon. Now, if you're one of our loyal Pinksters and you're involved with the app itself, you'll be keen to hear what's happening with the next round of Wisdom Points conversions. Well, I'm pleased to say that your Wisdom Points are also going to be converted in the new year, just before the launch of the Investor Wallet, which actually means that those of you who have earned it will be among the very first to see the inside of the portfolio. So next up, we have a redesign of how you actually work with the crowd side of the app. This new interface is also expected to be launching in the new year. It's almost as exciting an update as the Investor Wallet itself. So here we've got another quick preview. So here we see that new format of the homepage, which is where you'll spend your time, and this is what we call the action feed. And so here we see a new way to predict right in the action feed itself. you can, of course, scroll down the page and you can choose to participate with a whole stream of predictions and forecasts and any other actions that you wish to get involved with, or scroll past those that you don't. So you see here we've got a summary of your Fantasy Fund Manager performance, so you can see how you're currently doing if you're playing the Fantasy Fund Manager game. And you can, if you choose to, you can click on that to play around and adjust your virtual portfolio. You see a quick summary of the leaderboard, followed by something called weekly challenges. So you can see that this week it's me. And next up we have a forecast question. In this case, which asset do you believe is going to be most effective at tackling inflation over the next year? So when you complete that, as with most of the actions, you'll see if it's relevant and the immediate effect that this has on your points tally overall, as well as your leaderboard position. And then once you've seen that information, that action will disappear from the feed and you'll see the next one up. In this case, you see we've got a Bitcoin question. So as you can see, this interface, it's way more slick, it's way more fun. You don't have to keep manually navigating your way around the app and having to decide upfront what you want to interact with. Although, of course, you can still do that if you choose. That option is still available. And we'll learn over time which actions you most enjoy, and we'll show those to you more often. As well as that, we'll learn which actions you are best at. And since those provide more value to everyone in Pynk, we'll also show those to you more often so that we can collect more of that valuable data and you can reap the rewards. So we're going to have not just what you've seen there, there's all kinds of new actions coming, things like battles and games where you can compete with friends and strangers to see who's the best, educational stuff, all kinds of things. Really can't wait for this to go live. So that's the action feed coming to an app near you very soon. Now, one thing that you may be wondering is, what is our portfolio actually going to look like when it launches? Well, while we have something called a core within the portfolio that does keep us involved in a select number of assets that are fairly typical of the market overall, this core element gives you fairly similar exposure to what you might see in those vanilla uninteresting investment portfolios that you can get elsewhere. But with us, that is, of course, only a fairly small element of our whole portfolio. What you're really buying into with Pynk is a series of investment themes. We call them theses, pronounce that correctly, that we've developed in collaboration with our crowd and investors. Now, some of you have been involved in helping us already decide on some of the exciting investment concepts that will feature that show investment promise. Some of you have also been involved in identifying suitable assets that fit into each thesis. And even more of you will be involved in the future, and you'll be helping us to do all of the above, as well as rebalancing our allocations and adding and removing assets to and from each of them. So each thesis follows a separate investment concept, and each of them has a number of assets that fit that concept. But we combine together these various investment concepts to give you what is a diversified portfolio overall. Now, I won't share all of the theses that will be in the portfolio at launch. Obviously, it's in a continual state of improvement and development, but here are a few that might feature just to give you a flavour. One is Rembrandt in the Attic. This one is identifying companies that have got hidden value that we and the crowd don't believe is currently reflected in the current price of those assets. So this thesis is not, it's obviously not industry specific, so you could see all kinds of companies in this thesis, as long as they have what we consider to be hidden value. Another one is new food tech, and that includes but isn't restricted to lab grown meat. Here, generally, we are following up on our belief that the world has to change the way that it feeds itself. We need less waste, less environmental destruction, reduced animal suffering, and fewer harmful chemicals. In time, we believe that the cost benefits of this new type of food production will be so big that ethics will no longer be the only driver or the main driver towards changing eating habits. We think that cost savings will be. Another thesis is investments getting greener. Here we're looking more generally at a variety of environmentally respectful businesses and technologies that are reducing energy waste and pollution. And finally, the last one I'll mention is medical marijuana and other innovative plant-based medicines. Now, we've actually found some really interesting ways to get exposure to this exciting sector without necessarily having to restrict ourselves to investing into marijuana producers themselves. So there are many more features to come, which we will talk about in some future updates. One big thing to mention along those lines is that we do have a lot of progression happening right now in terms of integrating the crowd more tightly with what the investment committee does. Razvan, Pune and Mark are already making significant headway with this, and you'll have no doubt seen and recognised that if you're regularly involved in the Pynk community. But that is just the start, because we'll be integrating the community and more collaboration features into the core of the app itself. And then we're planning other things like fun games and battles and combative and collaborative play to up the ante and increase the fun factor so you can compete with others and prove who is the best predictor, who's the best investor. We're planning a native app, a way to get your hands on all kinds of alternative assets, as well as solutions for you to have more influence and customize your personal portfolios that you hold with us. And we're also planning ways to bring you more cutting edge information and education that will help you and the crowd and all of our investors to be smarter investors. So a little flavor there. Our roadmap for 2021 and beyond will be published after the new year. So look out for that, but don't just look for it. You will be able to actually tell us what you think about it and influence what goes into it and when. Because of course, we are all about collaboration. We enable that wherever we can. It's not just the portfolio, it's the actual product development itself. So thanks for making it this far, right to the end of this pretty long video. That's it for now. I hope that you and yours managed to have a pretty decent end to this year, at least. And I don't know about you, but I cannot wait for next year so that Pynk can play its small part in making the years ahead of you that little bit better. Adios 2020.
Pynk. Invest better together.